All right, YouTube, we're at it one more time here. Another cold weather drive. I'm gonna get the fans turned down here a second, and I'll tell you what today's plan is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to leave everything on auto, but we're gonna go to recirculate here on the fan. So we've got the E-heat on, we're gonna go recirculate. Right about minus 17 for the air temp right now. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit, still leaving it on auto. We're gonna go on our drive, and then we're gonna attempt to do a couple of things here. So here's what we did. Now if you've subscribed to the channel, if you haven't, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button. We got lots more Mach-E content coming up. What we're talking about though specifically over this video series is the heat system. How is the heater performing? So I did a video where we did 100% cold start, no plug-in, no warm-up, nothing, and we go. I did another video where we were plugged in, did a 15-minute precondition, and we were gone. And then I did one where we started from a heated garage and then went from there. You can see those results. I'll put a link in the video description. What I'm gonna do now though is we're gonna try to come up with maybe one last realistic, likely to happen scenario. And here's what that is. Car's parked outside, it's not plugged in, and you don't have access to battery power. The only thing I did differently is I let it have 5 minutes of warm-up. So you could have set the trip timer, your departure timer, so the vehicle knows that you're getting ready to head out. Or what I did is I just hit the remote start and then I let it get warm for 5 minutes. So this could be maybe you're parked in a parking lot at work and you don't have access to power, but you know you're going to be leaving, so you hit the remote start. What kind of temperatures can we expect? Is the vehicle going to get warm? Or you're at home and you know maybe you didn't have it plugged in because you didn't think it needed to be plugged in, or maybe the kids, you got to go pick up the kids. Maybe you got to go pick somebody up. Something, you just don't have a lot of time to precondition your trip. So I think 5 minutes is a reasonable time. Like, hey, I got to head out. I'm going to put my boots on, my winter gear. 5 minutes. You hit your start button, you get your gear on, you head out to the car. Is it going to be warm? That's what I'm trying to recreate here. So also, as far as the HVAC system goes, had a lot of comments on this, which was good. That's what we want. I want to see the comments. So people said, hey, instead of putting that thing on max, like your heat all the way up to the high setting, try setting it at like a temperature that you're trying to achieve. Okay, I can buy into that. So I set it at 73. Another thing, people said, don't turn your fan on high. I also can buy into that. I think it makes sense that we don't want to be like forcing a ton of this cold air through the heater core and you know, potentially cooling it down even more until we start at least feeling that warm air come through. I get that. I think that's reasonable. People had also said, well, you should also have the your defrost on, the mid vents, and the floor vents. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think we're splitting the air up too much. Now you've got that air traveling through all of the available ducting, and I think you're actually probably cooling it down a little faster than need be by doing that. So I'm just leaving it on auto. I've got it on a lower fan setting now because we're just starting to feel a little bit of warm air here. I'm taking that same route that I've done on the other videos. The only difference in this time, remember, This has got the 5-minute precondition, not plugged in. Vehicle has not been plugged in. It's been sitting outside. Our current temperatures floating between -18 and -19 Fahrenheit. So it's cold. Can this 5,000 watt PTC heater perform? I've had people saying, well, my Tesla does this, or my Polestar does this, my Volkswagen ID4 does this. Remember, these have different heating systems. Some using, Tesla specifically, using heat pumps. That performs completely different than a 5,000 watt electric heater. All right, they're two completely different systems. It's good that we're talking about them, right? Because we need to see what's going to work. If you live in a cold climate, if you live in Minnesota like I do, if you live in Canada or somewhere where you're getting these extreme cold temps, -19, your vehicle has to be able to perform. And if it doesn't, I don't know, you know, is it the right choice? So what am I feeling inside the vehicle right now? My seat's hot. I've talked about it in just about every video. We've been talking about heat, and that's these seat heaters are something else. I mean, they are very responsive. So I'm actually going to turn mine down. I'm going to turn it down to the medium setting there. Steering wheel feels good. It's comfortable to hold on to. My fingertips were starting to get a little chilled, but now that it's on the wheel, the steering wheel, that feels nice. Again, the steering wheel it's just on or off. You don't have a specific temperature to set that to, or it doesn't have a low, medium, high. It's either on or it's off. We've got 2 thermometers down here, plus the non-contact infrared, which we'll check the vents here in just a little bit. As I had said earlier too, I put this on, see, it cycled off a recirc, so I wonder if it might only do that for a short period of time. So I'm going to put that back on recirculation. What we're trying to do is we're shutting off that outside air from coming in, and we're just going to recirculate the air that's in the cabin. It goes without saying that even with me talking in here, that the cabin air is going to be a lot warmer than the outside air. So if we can force that air to go through the heater block, the heater core, it has less of a temperature swing to warm up from, you know. So if it's even if the inside air temp in here is just above freezing, that's certainly a lot better than -19. But here's the problem: my windows are fogging up already, and I had talked about this, where in a likely scenarios I'm going to have to go back and forth between turning that recirculation on and off to go from the defroster. Is it a pain? Yeah, but you know, if it's -19 out and I want to be somewhat comfortable in here, I've got to be doing this. I've got to be going back and forth. So in fact, the recirc just cut off here. I wonder if there's a sensor. Look at that. I was just talking about it. The recirculation shut off, and I can hear my defroster going and my windows clearing up. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's really interesting. You know, I wonder if it's got a sensor like with the if you have like a rain sense, you know, the wipers can tell when it's supposed to be going. Or I wonder if that recirculation only works for a short period of time because of the exterior temperature. I'm not sure, but that's interesting. If you guys know about that, maybe you can teach me something. Put that in the comments and let me know. So we're just coming up to our destination here, where we've been stopping the last several times. I'm going to stop at the same spot. We're going to start checking our temps. All right. Oh, that's pretty sunny right there. I'm going to see if I can... All right, so let me take you guys off here. I know this isn't the most exciting view, but I had a lot of people asking, hey, we want to see the computer. Not so interested in the road on this particular one. So one more time here, we're gonna... Whoops, sorry about that. Shut the camera off for a second. So we're back. Let's take our temp here. So 16, obviously we got to get that up. I'm starting to feel a little bit of warm there. So I think let's put our auto on. Let's go back to recirculation here. You can hear the fan speed increase. So I think that these guys, you know, plus or minus a few degrees, these things are not perfect. But let's see what kind of air temp we're getting from inside there. So that's pretty good. It's saying we're blowing 75, 76 degree air. And I'd say that's right. I mean, it feels, I can feel some warmth. The cabin itself feels comfortable. I mean, it's, I don't want to say comfortable. It feels cool, but I feel like it's warming up a lot quicker than it did in our previous video. Now, in our coldest test, remember, it was almost 10 degrees air temp colder. So I think that goes without saying. You gotta take that into consideration, that we're a bit warmer than we were in that previous video, both of the previous ones. So as you can see down here, we've got 26% of that trip going to climate use. Again, that's probably to be expected. 1.4 miles per kilowatt hour, that's fairly terrible. But again, I really think that's because so much of this is going to climate use. That's going to significantly affect our range. And that's to be expected during this temperature extreme. So I've said it in the other videos too, my seat feels very warm. It feels very comfortable. I've got it on that medium setting. So my wife and I, we both have seat heaters. So if we're on a road trip or something, we're comfortable. But kids in the back seat, they don't have seat heaters. So can the air temp inside the vehicle warm up enough where we can hop in and go on a road trip? Would I plan ahead for something like that? Sure, of course I would. And even if I didn't have access to power, I started this trip with a full battery charge, so I would absolutely be preheating the vehicle. I would definitely use that preconditioning. That goes without saying. But if I had to, what if we had to load up the kids because we got to run down to you know, the grandparents' house because they need something, or we're in a hurry, or heaven forbid some type of emergency and we just got to go? You know, can the vehicle get warm? Can it keep us warm in here? That's what I'm trying to go at. So let's check our temps again up here. So we're still doing pretty good there. 76, 77. I think I heard the climate adjust here again. So I don't know why this keeps switching off. And I can hear the louvers. I heard the louvers close. So I know that it's working there. I'm kind of confused though as to why that would be cycling. Maybe again, because the temperature is as cold as it is, maybe it knows not to do that for very long. I guess I'm not certain. But I am starting to feel some warmth coming out of here. My fingertips are still cold, but my body, my core feels okay. So let's just see if we can get this. I've got this other thermometer down here. It says 23. I've had this sitting down, and I'm keeping in mind that there's some cool mass here. Speaking of mass, the floor is cold. It definitely is cold. Like, I'm just wearing like my running shoes. Remember, you guys some people were giving me some grief. Well, you live in Minnesota, don't you put boots on? Well, I suppose sometimes. But actually, probably 90% of the winter, I'm just wearing tennis shoes. Call me crazy. But yeah, my feet are cold. Not ice cold, but it's, again, there's so much thermal mass with that battery bank. That's a massive battery bank that it's keeping that cold down there. And if the batteries aren't preconditioned, they're not pre-warmed at all, well, you can feel that on your feet. In a previous video where I had the vehicle plugged in overnight, it stayed significantly warmer, and I did that 15-minute precondition. There were no issues there. So speaking of, take a look at so there's our center mark there. We have definitely lost a lot of the available battery range. So that's what those blocks are that you see. Let's see if I can get my finger in there. So these blocks right here are essentially it's the vehicle saying, hey, the batteries are super cold. We don't want you to tax them at 100% because that could be detrimental to the battery health. So that's what that's doing. It's just limiting that power. If I go back here, so once again, it shut off our recirculation. I'll have to look into that and see why it's doing that. So let's check our thermometer here. Well, so that hasn't warmed up a whole lot. 27, it's saying. It's still, the air feels fairly warm. Feels reasonable. Okay, 82, that's good. So that means, I mean, we're getting some warm air out of there. Windows are not fogging up, but again, I think that could be, so we're still on there. I kind of want to watch this and see if this is just going to shut off or what the deal is. That's kind of bizarre why that would be cycling like that when I'm not asking it to cycle. So right at the 15-minute mark that we've been going here, if you've watched any of the other videos, I'll link them in the description below. What I was trying to do here is, I guess, sort of validate the test. The one that I did where there was no trip preconditioning at all, and can the heater keep up? I'm gonna say with a 5-minute warm-up time that, I don't know. Would it work? Yes, I do think, as you can see, the air temp coming out of there is at least mid-70s. Absolutely. I mean, if I was going to be in the vehicle for another 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes, the cabin would start warming up. I do think it would. But does it warm up as fast as an internal combustion engine vehicle? Absolutely not. I've been driving in Minnesota winters for a long time. I've owned big V8 trucks down to, you know, little 4-cylinder cars, like, you know, 1.3 liter engines, these little tiny engines. I'm familiar with all sizes. I know how fast they warm up. The combustion engine warms up quicker than this particular vehicle at this particular temperature. I don't think it's fair. Some people that are posting some videos, well, like the heater works fine. Well, what's your temperatures? Well, it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I'm at minus 19 right now, and I've done them at minus 29, videos at minus 29, and it's just not adequate when it gets that cold. I've talked about it before. Maybe they could do a hybrid in the future where you've got an electric PTC heater coupled with a heat pump, or maybe it's got a booster heater where if I'm calling for as hot of air as this thing can put out, maybe it has the 5 kW main heater and then a 2 kW booster, where that booster only comes on at the very beginning just to warm up that water temp enough to get the heater block warm. You know, there's got to be a better way to do this. I really think in the future that Ford might reconsider this and at least up that heater capacity. I saw somebody with a Polestar that said, gosh, I can't remember, I think they got like almost a 10 kW or 7 kW heater. So I'm not really sure why Ford went this small. My only hunch is that they were trying to get maximum range, and unfortunately for people that live in a climate like where I live, that really hurts us. I get it, because you can see now we're down to 1.2 miles per kilowatt hour. That range is not great, but again, I understand. I bought an EV and I live in a cold climate, so put that range on me, but let me be the one to decide if I want my range to suffer so I can stay warm in the vehicle and take my family out and about. Let me be the one to decide that. You know, I guess that's kind of what I'm going for with all of this. So I've kept you guys here a while. 34, it's definitely warming up. I can feel the air. It feels warm. I bet we're going to see a good reading here. Oh yeah, there we go. 94. So that's really interesting. So even a 5-minute trip precondition, that's really making all the difference, you guys. We were 10 degrees cooler in that in a previous video where I tested this, and I get that 10 degrees absolutely makes a difference, but I can feel the air starting to warm up in here. And if I force more of that air to go down to the floor, I know my feet are going to warm up as well. So we're just coming up to the 20-minute mark. So 20 minutes in, making sure to toggle the recirculation, and it shut off again, but toggling the recirculation on and off, not having the fan at 100% is working. we are getting warmer. I'll post in the comments if I got anything to report on the way back home, but I think this is working. So big shout out to you guys. We're starting to grow the channel a bit. Hit that like, hit the subscribe button. I'll get you more EV content. If there's something specific you want to see, let me know in the comments. We'll see if we can make that happen. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you on the next video.